Good morning. Thank you. Please join me on stage. Welcome back to the 13th Annual International Symposium for Personal and Commercial Spaceflight. We had a wonderful reception last night, after-hours reception that the city sponsors. And we're very supportive of having this relationship with the city, helping you welcome all of these out-of-towners to our fair metropolis here. Very early on, you understood the importance of leadership regarding this emerging industry in our community. It's not a given that people understand what a spaceport is. Some people ask me if the spaceport was in the sky. So we started at ground zero in some cases here in the city, helping people understand what we do. But with the wonderful coverage we had this morning with Jason and the Sun News and our other media partners, thank you for being here. We're very grateful. You understood when I spoke to you about spaceports and what their role is in our industry. But then there's another thing that I would like you to take a minute, if you could, to tell our audience about the remodeling of downtown. How long did it take us from, that was a long haul. Another infrastructure project where we tore down the urban renewal kind of approach to downtown Las Cruces and brought it back to what it was at the turn of the century. It's a very lovely downtown now. Thank you so much for all that work. Please tell our audience it's their free night tonight, just a little bit about what it took to get the people together to build our downtown out the way it is now.
You got it.
Thank you.
All right, thanks. Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing today? It's a little bit late. Ran into a former classmate of mine, John Mulholland. I don't know if he's out in the audience, but there you are, John. So just kind of reminiscing, and then of course my neighbor, Dan Hicks, who's in charge of the spaceport, which you'll be hearing here in just a moment. So it's like I'm among friends. But just out of curiosity, how many, by show of hands, this is your first time here today? Okay, great. Well, I'm telling you, Pat always seems to outdo herself year after year. And I for one, can tell you thanks for all that you do to really bring this industry and a lot of the executives from around the country here and to our fair city here of Las Cruces. Because this is really something here. I have to tell you, I started a program 10 years ago. It's two parts. One part is fitness and nutrition. This is for third graders. I go to all 25 elementary schools. And then the other half is technology, space, and science. And I actually took a book 10 years ago, and I use it, and I show it to all the children. Let me tell you something, and we talk about the spaceport. We talk about how this is the new mode of transportation, and how exciting it is, how important that they listen to their teacher, do their homework, graduate from high school, and hopefully go on to college and other great stuff, because we were counting on them, because they're the future leaders. And in fact, that reminds me, I'm gonna, after this, I'll probably take a little tour, see if we can find another book, because that book is already outdated. Because it features a lot of spacecraft from thin air. And it said by 2047, they'll be up and flying. Well, I tell the kids, I said, where it says thin air, it needs to say USA. And ironically, I think it's going to be a lot quicker than 2047. So hopefully, you have a book already to give me? So that's good. Good. Well, nonetheless, I just can't thank you enough for all that you do. And Pat was mentioning, to talk a little bit about downtown. And I think what the correlation is this is something. This is a new frontier, obviously. And when we were talking about downtown, I've been fortunate to be in public office since 1992. Not as mayor. I've been mayor for 10 years, but prior to that, I was a city councilor and a county commissioner. But when I first got on board in the early 90s, I had a group of people who had this vision about downtown. And it just we barely broke ground in many ways. In fact, here's one of my colleagues. I refer to him as one of my board of directors, Councilor Gil Sorg. But we basically started really moving about 3 to 4 years ago. And it's all about funding. It's all about money. And it's an investment. It's something there that now that we've done it, a lot of the naysayers are just in awe. It seems like our plaza is one of the most utilized places that we have here in the city. Our convention center is the same. So I appreciate all of you and your vision, your investment dollars, and constantly being trailblazers in the new frontier of space travel. I think it's going to be something here that we're really looking forward to. The city of Las Cruces really has done our best. We're trying to continue to do our best in attracting that type of industry. We recognize that space travel is basically the new mode of transportation. Yeah, sure, of course, there will always be airplanes and cars and bicycles. It's so funny, I'll ask the kids, so do you know what I mean when I say mode of transportation? And so they'll, we'll talk a little bit about it. So I said, so what, give me their modes of transportation. Now, little did I realize, of course, they'll start including skateboards, rollerblades. I'm thinking, I was just hoping they'd just say bicycles and walking, but now I start pulling everything out here. But nonetheless, I tell them, space is it. This is why it's so important. You have to study your math and your science. And I talk about what engineers do. So I'm fortunate I have 2 of my sons that want to be engineers. And my youngest one, I don't know, he wants to be in business, and which is okay, but I don't want him to be in public service, public office, because it's a tough, I enjoy it, I love it, but I'm always practicing with him on being credible. You have to sound credible, you have to be credible. So. But nonetheless, I'll wrap it up by just saying thanks for all that you do, thanks for providing such great information. And for those of you who can recall, no, I probably can't say that because on my other hat, I'm a registered representative. I have a securities license. I was going to use an analogy about Microsoft, so I better just not say nothing. But nonetheless, this is a great opportunity, ground floor opportunity, and we're very fortunate to have many people such as Dan and others who Jacobs Engineering, those who really do so much for not only our community, but our state and our nation. And so thank you very much for coming out here today, and look forward to some of your discussions, and I'll turn it back over to Pat. Thanks again for always inviting me, Pat.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good job. So, see, we're getting back to full strength here. It's good to see everybody. We have 3 people from Las Cruces speaking today. So this day drills down into our technologies and our capabilities. And so what you'll see on the agenda is people now who are actually doing programs, running programs, building technologies. And now you know why this show is only 2 days long, too. This is about all you can stand, I'm sure. When Joe Bullington got on stage and said, well, you're not done eating yet, last night, there's still one more reception. The intent of building this community is keeping you together, keeping you engaged in every way, shape, and form with our culture and with our industry. And this is hard work. And for 2 days, we come together. Hopefully, you can take a little bit of a pause and open our minds and our hearts to each other, because we got to go back to work. And for me, the day flew yesterday. Did it go fast for y'all yesterday? It just, and now today, we're almost done. May I encourage you again to go to ISPCS Connect in your phones. The people who have allowed us to provide their information to you, you can set up meetings. And now the Oregon View Terrace, where we have the quiet space, you can have a meeting there. Of course, everybody meets outside too. Just take take one more shot. If you haven't met somebody, look and see if they're on ISPCS Connect and try and set up a meeting. And I got to ask a question. What other conference that you've been to in the last 5 years gave you fresh Hatch green chili for breakfast? Wayne Hale came in yesterday morning and said, "Pat, that was the best breakfast. I love Marcy, don't change a thing." And we do that on purpose so that we touch you in many ways. We want you to remember our community and maybe go away with some things that you can take home, like some chili from the truck farm, etc. I'm pleased to welcome our speakers to day 2. Wayne, thank you for another superior job as master moderator. And when I was speaking with Ariane last night about the master moderators, you know, it's a tough act to follow, but she's we're very fortunate and very grateful to have you back, Ariane, who you met yesterday as one of our speakers. Please join me on stage. I admire you a lot.
Thank you.
For all that you've accomplished in your very short but busy life. Very busy life. Another graduate of Harvard Business School. And is Matt here?
Yes. He's right
Where are
back
you?
there.
Oh, great. Okay. I see a form. I got to get my binoculars. And by the way, Nick Demidovich has his moon viewing binoculars here, and he will share so you can see what he sees. There you are. He's over there. With the press. Who knew you were with the press? I always thought you were with the FAA, but okay. You're one of the 20 and 30-something people, because I'm not going to ask you how old you are. I'm just going to slide along in there, who've just begun the journey in your career. You worked very hard to get where you are now. Long hours. So we'll be watching your career unfold. And it's good for us to be able to watch.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Pat.
You're welcome. I also am very grateful for you to take on this role of master moderator. You know, it's a tough role. You have to be able to think on your feet. You bring deep knowledge of our industry. You bring perspective that you will share with our speakers and with our audience. And your knowledge of master moderator is a gift we're giving our audience. So,
Thank you very much, Pat. I appreciate that.
you're welcome.
Well, welcome, everybody. Good morning. It's a pleasure to see all of you faces from yesterday and new faces for day 2. We have an extraordinary lineup, as Pat mentioned, of revered speakers, executives from our industry. Going for purpose, I think we're so lucky to have them here to talk because, in particular, they're taking time out from their purposes, if you will, their projects, their important endeavors that they are contributing to our industry. So it's really fantastic to have them down here in New Mexico.